Good evening. We're going to go ahead and get started with our program this evening, but before we do, I just want to take a few minutes to thank a couple people. First of all, thank you to our athletes for being a wonderful example out in our community. I actually was in Market Street the other night having dinner, and someone came up to me and said, your soccer boys came in yesterday alone for breakfast, and I was like, because I wasn't sure what the old lady was getting ready to say. And she was like, they were the most well-behaved gentlemen that I've ever been around, and they were so polite. So it made me really, really proud of our kids. And that's just one example. I said they're not always like that, but most of the time they are. So I was glad it was a good day. But I'm always very proud to be their principal and proud to be here at Pocomo High School. I want to also thank our parents for all the time that you spend waiting outside of practices and coming to games and supporting us. I want to thank our coaches for all the time that you take away from your families and your jobs and all of the other fun things that you have going on in your life to be here for our kids. And lastly, I want to thank Mr. Bird back here, David Bird, because without him, I say people think that I run the school, but really Mr. Bird does. He's really in charge. So without him, So at this time, I'm going to turn the program over to Mr. Bird.
Remiss to say that it has been one heck of a fall at Pocono High School. I think we need to give everybody a hand in here. Tonight the teams will be called up in order. If you did bring your program from the meal, you'll be able to follow along. We'll start. We'll ask the student athletes to come up with their coach. They'll be given letters, pens, and certificates at different sites after the night. We'll be giving out MVP awards and sportsmanship awards. And we'll talk about, if you looked in our hallway, there's a great chance for us to putting up a couple more banners. There's a super banner as you came in. We're going to put up a state championship banner. We're going to put up a Bayside, and we're going to put up a region banner. Hopefully more this year. State championships at Pocono High School. That is number 2 in the state. Now to honor our student athletes tonight, we'll begin with our golf team. Will they please come forward, and our coach Mary Kay Corbin. Golf.
Good evening. First of all, as everybody else has already said, congratulations to all fall sports teams. You've done a heck of a job. I've definitely thank or congratulate the state 1A field hockey championship. Last spring, at the end of the school year, we were talking about the fall sports. Susan, Mrs. Pusey, and I talked, and she really did believe that that team would win the state. So she was right, and she's very proud of you, I know. Golf. Everybody thinks it's just a matter of hitting a little white ball and you've got it made. Well, besides hitting that little white ball, which is a lot smaller than a soccer ball or a field hockey ball, you have to hit it with 14 different clubs. You have to know the distance for all 14 clubs. We never have a home field advantage. We go to a different course every match. We cannot have spectators that root you on. Our spectators are not allowed to even approach a golfer. They have to stay 50 yards away. I cannot even approach my golfers. When they're having a bad day, I can't talk to them. I don't even know what they're doing because more times than ever, I'm not with them. And besides looking at where the water is, carrying up, they have to carry 25 to 30-pound golf clubs for 2.5 to 3 hours. So it's not as easy as a lot of people think that you're just hitting a little white golf ball. Our season is short compared to a lot. which makes it nice for us because we get to go watch the playoffs and all the other. But we don't get to play under lights. I take 5 players to every match, even if I have a team of, in this case, 6. If I have 10, I can only take 5. We qualify, so even though you're on the golf team, you might never get to play because we qualify. We play Tuesday, Thursdays. We qualify Monday, play, qualify, play. And then when we play Friday and Saturday for practice, we have to deal with all the, bandits that are out there playing at the golf course, so we have to kind of go around them too. But overall, they did very good this year. We beat all the 1A South Bayside teams. We call it districts, which I got thinking about it. It's our regional or our semifinal, because after our district, you go to states. I took 4 qualified to go to regionals. Sorry to say, no one made it to states. Even though we were low in South Bayside, you have to shoot against a certain score. So even if you are the lowest in the South Bayside, if you do not shoot that one score, you do not get to go. As you can see, I have 6. My first one I'm going to say a little bit about is Brooke Beecham. She is a freshman, as you all know. This is her first year playing. She came to me to play after she had done a little clinic. She had a couple practices, then she left me for a week. Then she came back, and I had preached to them about how much chipping and putting was important in your golf game. And she found out the hard way because for 2 practices, she practiced an hour and a half to 2 hours each day, just chipping and putting. She got to play 3 matches. A little accident kind of put a kink in that a little bit. And she was a Minds in Motion recipient. For those who don't know what Minds in Motion recipient is, that's put out by Maryland Public Secondary School, MPSSAA. You have to have a 3.25 or above unweighted GPA. So she was one of my 3 that got it, and she was one of my number 5 players. My second freshman, Kayla King, this is his first year to play. I don't like comparing brothers and brothers or sisters, whatever. But he was better, he was ahead of his brother because when Noah started playing for me, he came to practice the first day and was taking his clubs out of the racking. He didn't do that. He brought a set of clubs already unwrapped. But he started to improve, and he also found out what chipping and putting was about because he also, for the first couple of days, had to do nothing but chipping and putting. Brooke, Red. He's a sophomore. It's his first year to play. He thought about it last year, said, nah. He now regrets that he didn't play last year because he had so much fun. He can hit a ball long. He was my number 4 player. Brandon. He's a junior. It's his second year to play. He was my number 3 player, and he had a driver he brought out for a while. And then he realized that MK was telling him the truth, and he actually left it with me for the last 3 matches because I told him not to hit it anymore. It was hurting his game. And he did do much better. He is a Minds in Motion recipient, and he did go to districts, and so did Bert, by the way. He's a junior, 3rd year. Speaking of drivers, I can't get through his head about his driver. I actually took stats on him one day to see if I could prove to him what I was saying, and that still didn't work. He can hit just as far as Burke, if not further than Burke, so it's hardly. He is an honorable mention Bayside, and we're going to work on that driver between now and next year. Ethan Taylor. He's a senior. It's his 4th year. He played in all the matches. He's honorable mention Bayside. He hopes to go to College Park next year. For my MVP, it's pretty much whoever has the lowest score total. And Ethan won, and he beat Evan 1.5 strokes. So every stroke counts. Last is just, of course, your sportsmanship. I would love to give it to everybody, but I had them all over for dinner and over hot apple cake and ice cream. I decided they all had to decide. And this year, voted by them, our sportsmanship award goes to Ethan Taylor.
Boys and girls cross country team, Coach Becker, Coach Cook, please come forward.
All right, good evening, folks. First and foremost, we want to thank you for coming out and supporting our student athletes throughout the year. It's been a big challenge. As Coach Becker and I met this summer for the first time, just meeting one another, we just had a conversation about some of the goals that we had for the team. Knowing that the team was kind of in a transition period, one of our goals was really to just build a team and build numbers. And that was one of our biggest goals. Our first practice, we only had a few folks come out. We were a little nervous, but one of the things we said, we're going to keep recruiting and talking. And as we kept working with students and meeting different students, we eventually grew our team to 11 athletes. And one of our biggest goals was, we said every day we want to improve upon from the day before, and we've continued to do that. Throughout the season, we had a couple minor injuries that we were plagued with, but we were able to overcome the diversity to meet a lot of individual goals that runners have set forth. And one of the neat things about that is, as the season kept going on and time started to cut some folks by even 10 and 12 minutes, that you could start to see them really gel together as a team and bring a different group of students together and really thrive. And one of the biggest goals that we had towards the end of the season, we started looking, we're like, we really have a chance to be one of the first teams to qualify a boys cross-country team in a very long time at Pocomoke High School. And we're very proud to say that this season we were able to accomplish that goal. And on the female side, we were also able to have one female individually qualify, which is a huge accomplishment for a very challenging 1A East region. And right now we're going to kind of go through some of our athletes and talk with you about some of the highlights that we had. Our first athlete is Sarah Switalski, who did not able to stay tonight. However, I just want to say she was a phenomenal runner who came out about 2 weeks into it. Next thing we know, she's starting to cut her time little by little. And one of the things with cross country is the goal is to get everybody under a 30-minute time. And before you know it, she was able to accomplish that goal. One of our other 9th grade runners, which ended up being one of our best female athletes, is Sadara Franklin. Throughout the season, Sadara came out, and little by little, she started the season at really a high time. If you've ever been to Stephen Decatur's course, it's very hilly, which we don't really have a lot of that on the Eastern Shore. So she was a little nervous about how it was going to go, but throughout the season, she was able to cut almost a little over 16 minutes off her initial time. And she was our lone state qualifier for Pocomoke High School this year at the state level. Our next 9th grade athlete is Brady Hooks. Brady was with us the entire season. He was actually the only boy on the very first day of the season that came out. And throughout the season, he really pushed and made himself better. As we kept working with him, we kept telling him, our goal is to improve ourselves every day. And as you look at the times throughout the year, Brady ended up improving his time by almost 8 minutes. Brady is also a Minds in Motion recipient for Pocomoke High School as well. Our next 9th grade student that we'd like to share about is probably what I consider the life of the party all the time. That would be Nick Paul. Nick came to us a few weeks in, and one thing I always thought about Nick, I was like, does this child ever stop? And I didn't mean in running, I meant talking, his theatrics, but the one thing that was unique about him, he could always bring everybody up. And one thing was, he was always able to get a large group of people to cheer for him at every event. Sometimes it was some of his antics as he was running, trying to get high fives from people as he was going near the finish line. And throughout that, Nick actually probably grew the biggest fan base that he had. Throughout the season, he didn't cut as much time, but he was able to limit his time to the point where he was also a state qualifier for us. Next, we're going to have Emmy Gladden came up. As we started the season, Emmy came on a little bit late, but one thing that she said as we started going, I said, Coach, those hills are really big. We were looking at Stephen Decatur. And I tell people that as you continue to move on, you're going to improve, especially after you start such a difficult course. And that was the case for Emmy. Emmy, throughout the season, improved almost 15 and a half minutes. Wow. Our next sophomore is Crystal Rodriguez. Crystal was one of those folks that was always also very active and very, I always used to think sometimes she wants to stop, but she never stops talking sometimes. She's always really happy. She always wanted to be like, hey, Coach, what are we doing next? Hey, how's this workout going to work? And as she did that, she started to grow as a runner because she started to really understand the spirits of running and how to kind of really work your body so you can perform at the maximum level. And throughout the season, that showed for her as she was able to cut 15 minutes and 16 seconds off. To our junior class, DeAnjane Wise. Throughout the season, DeAnjane was continually trying to work to make herself better. I always said she was probably the most positive person throughout our team. Always trying to tell everybody how to kind of pick it up a little bit. You know, we got to get better every day. And as she did that, her attitude really rubbed off on a lot of different runners, and she continued to improve. And DeAnjane actually hit a personal record actually the last 3 races in a row, which was almost 9 to 10 minutes off the pace. Also in our junior class is Christoph Otazi. Christoph was actually our only runner that returned from the previous season, and it was great to have somebody who had a good idea of some of the courses that we were going to be traveling to, as well as just being able to show some of those leadership capabilities throughout the season. And as he kept going, he was continued to be one of our top runners throughout the season, and was also a state qualifier. And now to our senior class. Sometimes it's very difficult when you're trying to build a program and you bring seniors in. And I used to always tell Mr. Bird that some of these seniors were really our workhorses. They were the ones who really pushed and really gave some of our best times and kind of rubbed off on some of our underclassmen so they could continue to improve to make it to the state level. And our first senior that I would like to talk about is Tyler Nixon. Tyler consistently led by example. Didn't really complain about workouts and always pushed to the next level. Never really said anything. He was just kind of wear my headphones and just do the workouts. It was nothing to have Tyler be able to run 7 to 8 miles in practice and just keep going. His endurance was second to none, and it really showed at the end of the season as he continued on to the state and became a state qualifier for Pocono High School. Our next senior is Sam Reyes. As Sam came out for the team, he was a little unsure because he never ran before. He said, I've kind of played a lot of different sports, but this was new to me. And one thing that was great about Sam hated to lose. And he really didn't like when anybody finished close to him. So the interesting thing about Sam is as we went through the season, he would constantly ask me, Coach, what time do I need to get the next mile? Because I always tell people, cross country is a game of math sometimes. You really need to be able to calculate splits. And as we went through the season, that he really improved upon that, so he could tell me what his split was going to be and what he was going to do to improve on that split. And as that continued, he actually had his best time of the season right around 18 minutes for a 5K, which also helped him become a state qualifier. Last but not least, senior Myron Mason. One aspect that I'll miss the most about Myron is his leadership capability and qualities that he really would show day to day. As practice would continue to get more challenging, I always tell folks, cross country, you start real small and kind of build your way up. One of the things that we found very quickly with our 3 seniors that their capabilities were much farther than what we expected. And as we continued to push them, they pushed beyond what they expected. Once again, there's nothing to put in a 7 or 8 mile practice and still be able to come back and continue at that high level. Myron, I will say your leadership has been really helpful for us as we continue to build and grow this program. And it's no wonder that you were one of our top times this year as a state player. As we go through, we have a couple awards that we would like to give out. First and foremost, we want to give out our sportsmanships award. We have 2, one for our males team and our female team. First, for our girls side, I just want to share a story about this young lady. As we ran at the Salisbury Park one week, we had cross country is one of those unique sports that it's not really spectator friendly sometimes, and sometimes injuries do occur. And there was a young lady from another team who fell and broke an ankle on one of our courses, and one of our athletes was one of the only athletes among the entire race who stopped, helped that girl, made sure that she was able to get medical assistance. And it really says a lot about her character and what she did for us, and that always rubbed off on our other athletes. And that young lady is DeAnjane Wise. Next, for the boys, one of our sportsmanship award goes to a young man who showed up every day throughout the season. He didn't miss a practice. As he continued through, sometimes he's like, Coach, I'm just going to ride my bike to practice so I get a little bit more workout. And as he continued through, it was no surprise that he was going to exceed expectations and continue to improve. And as he did that, he always was positive, always tried to work through some challenging times. And as he did that, he tried to pick his teammates up along the way. And that young man is Brady Hooks. And for our MVP runners, for our males and females, it comes with no surprise that for our female most outstanding runner this year, with her best personal time, just under 24 minutes, which would be Sadara Frank. And on the boys' side, our most valuable runner of the season was a young man who was easily, when he got lazy, he would only be like a 19. I'm like, Coach, he's like, I'm going to push it tomorrow. He would be able to just tell me his time. He was that talented. He pushed at the right times and peaked, earning personal records at the end at the Bayside and the regional meets. And that is Myron Mason. And that's your 2015 cross-country team.
Tennis team, please come forward. Coach Eddie Carl.
Joins people with and without special needs on the same team. Coconut High School now for 3 different unified sports this year. We have tennis in the fall, bowling in the winter, and bocce in the spring. Our team played against other teams within the county and played at a district tournament which included teams from 4 different counties. Through coaching the team, which we only have half of them here tonight, this is 3 of them, we had 6 total. I not only saw great improvements in their ability to play tennis, but also great examples of sportsmanship and encouragement. Not only did our team members support and cheer each other on, but they made a point to cheer for, encourage, and have conversations with competitors on different teams. These 6 athletes were a perfect example of what unified sports is all about. The Unified Tennis Team would like to thank our administration and Mr. Bird for all of their support this season. This year's Unified Tennis Team members were Ashlyn Colson, David Hutt, and then also Kylie Moeller, Brian Gale, and Andre Collins. 3 of our team members was awarded the Minds in Motion Award, which was David Hutt, Ashlyn Colson, and Kylie Moeller. And then I also gave everyone on the team these 6 different awards. This year, the tennis MVP is going to go to David Hutt. Our sportsmanship award this year is going to go to Ashlyn Colson. And then Tabitha this year is going to receive our Most Spirited Player Award. And then Kylie got the Most Improved Player Award since she had never played tennis before. And Ryan got our Most Dedicated Player Award. And Andre got the Most Supportive Team Award. And that's the team. Thank you.
Our volleyball team, please come forward. Coach Steve,
Good evening, everyone. You have to excuse me, I'm feeling a little under the weather. I don't usually feel like this, but we're going to get through it. I want to thank the administration. I want to thank Mr. Bird and Ms. Kim Baker, our athletic trainer, for all the help that they have been. I'm going to speak really briefly about the junior varsity team. This group of girls totally had the varsity girls back all year. If you came to any of our matches, you know that these girls cheered very enthusiastically during the varsity matches, and people took note of that, and it's something to be said for the girls to be into their game so much. If I'm going to be honest, I didn't know that this group of freshmen and sophomores would make it through the first 2 weeks. They came in pretty out of shape, and they came in having never played volleyball before. And it's a lot, with the exception of middle school phys ed. So I thought it was too much of a shock for them. I thought that maybe they were what they expected Pocomoke volleyball to be like was not necessarily what they were getting. So I thought that running would be too much. I thought that the skills and fundamentals would prove too challenging. And I thought maybe they would just kind of throw in the towel, but they didn't. And they came back day after day, week after week, and they learned what it was to play Pocomoke High School volleyball. They learned what it was to represent their school, to represent their coaches, to represent their parents, and to represent themselves. So there's a lot to be said for this group of girls. I'm going to introduce the freshmen first, and then we'll move on from there. But the first freshman I have on my list is Demaja Melendez. Destiny Melendez. Cortasia Brittingham. Michaela Wright. Michael Schoolfield. Rachel Sledge. And Laura Dean. And the sophomores, Destiny Johnson. And Megan Sublick, who is not here. the juniors, I will introduce, oh, Tamai Murray, I'm sorry, she is right up there in front of the So the juniors, I'm going to introduce and then I'm just going to talk about them a little bit. But the juniors I have that we kept on the JV squad were LaQuasia Johnson, Anissa Jones, Mr. Becker and I talked a lot about the juniors, and it wasn't an easy decision to keep them on the junior varsity team, especially when you had such a large group of freshmen and sophomores. But we felt it was really important that they played every day. So we kept them so that they could be a core, integral part of the team. They played almost every minute of every match. And because of that, they were able to they were important in the varsity's playoff run, because each of them had played enough and not sat the bench, so they came in, they played their role, they served points in, and they were really important to the playoff run. The whole team as a whole improved so much over the course of the year. Almost all of them had to learn the basic skills. They had to learn to pass, they had to learn to serve, they had to learn the rules of the game. They had to learn their own limits and their teammates' limits. And I can't tell you what a difference there was between the first match and the last match with these girls. You'd have to have seen it to believe it. They improved so much. By the end of the season, they were moving to the ball, they were hustling all over the gym, they were calling the ball loudly, they were even hitting and blocking, and they looked like real volleyball players. We won games against Bennett and Parkside, who are powerhouses in the Bayside South, and our final record was 7-8. That I have is just, girls, I hope you come back next year, all of you. I hope that you, between now and then, you practice the skills that we've gone over and don't just save them for next August. And then find me if you need me.
All right, those of you who know me, most of the time I like to take notes and just kind of wing my speeches. But what I really want to do this year is I took the time to put it down word for word. I'm going to read it word for word because I really want you to get the message out of it, what these girls have done this year. To start, I want to thank the school administration, the athletic administration, our trainer Kim Baker, parents, and the players. Most importantly, I want to thank Ms. Keith. She's not just an assistant coach, she's a co-head coach. And the program really benefits from her. So last year, our plan was to compete. Not look at the score, but to simply play as hard and as focused on every serve, spike, and third ball. We figured that if we worked hard, our scores would eventually improve. We figured if the girls looked at the scoreboard and we were not winning, they may decide to shut down and not give their very best. So last year, we avoided looking at the scoreboard. Well, as much as I could anyway. And we had a competitive season. This year, Coach Keefe and I decided it was time to win. But we knew the team would not win if the players did not want to prepare to win. It was not going to be good enough to want to win. Like I said, they had to prepare. We did passing drills, serving drills, receiving drills, and there were plenty of consequences for not performing. We were asked, why are the girls doing extra running or ups, downs, and crunches when they do not perform? The answer is pretty easy. We wanted the girls to prefer playing volleyball with technique, effort, and enthusiasm on the court instead of simply running around the court. It worked. The season started slow. Colonel Richardson, a class program, came to our gym and handed it to us. They beat us 3-0. We had moments of effort and focus, but we knew we had to have more to win. We doubled down on our skill and we improved. We beat North Dorchester, Snow Hill, Wye, Kent County, even Parkside, and we took Bennett twice to 5 sets. The girls actually made Miss Keefe and I step up on our coaching. It's so much harder to coach when you have players that are buying in. In our case, we called it all in. We had to figure out our rotations, our substitution patterns, new defensive alignments, all these things that take a team from competing to winning. The girls, once again, were all in. We finished the season above 500 and prepared for playoffs. We earned a first-round bye, and then we beat North Dorchester. Our next match was against Colonel Richardson at Colonel. At Colonel, we started slow. They won the first set, and we won the second. Then they won the third. It was a back-and-forth match. Two teams that wanted to do more than just compete. Both teams wanted to win. Both teams were prepared to win. Well, after the third set, we had our water cooler talk. That's when me and Miss Keefe take the girls to the water cooler and we tell the players what is going to happen. We told them that we were going to win the fourth set, win the fifth set, and thus the match. This may sound very confident, but we really knew that the girls wanted it. They wanted to beat Colonel. They wanted to prove that they belonged in the regional final. On a side note, sometimes in sports, you have a member of a team that's not a player. That's our scorekeeper, Michaela Bauer. She's not here. I wish she was here. At the beginning of the fourth set, Michaela noticed that Colonel's... Next is Alexis Horsey. She's a first-year player, and I seriously mean this, she's the best digger in the Bayside. Yes. And the loudest mouth on the bench. Yes. She starts the cheers. Yes. Alexis? Start your cheer?
Yeah, we're ready.
Oh, start the ace cheer. JV, you're next. Go. Do the woo-woo.
Woo, 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 ace! Woo, 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 ace!
Parents?
Woo, 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 ace!
Alexis Horsey. Denisha Kuzar. Denisha's a solid back row player and server. She made the key dig against Colonel. It's on film. She watches it over and over. Denisha Kuzar. Emily Martin. One of the most consistent servers in the conference. She had 2 runs of 9 points against Colonel. 9-9, correct? Ms. Keefe?
Yeah.
Thank you. Emily Martin. Madison Kuna. One of the quietest players who became the loudest. She has great court awareness and does not play a ball that's going out. You can hear her on the film calling out. Madison Kuna. Molly LeMay. Molly was often injured, but she worked herself back into being able to play the front row. She played across the front as a blocker and a hitter. And when she was on, she could absolutely serve the other team off the court.
Yes.
Molly LeMay. Brooklyn Johnson. Brooklyn kept the hitters fed. She could set the ball from the front, from the back, to our players in the backcourt, especially the girls in the front. Her serve crossed the net and often just died. It was one of those serves that Colonel just could not handle and gave us our victory. Dinasia Christian. Dinasia's our main middle blocker and hitter. More importantly, she's the intimidator. The so-called Bayside volleyball players would actually stop attempting to spike against her. Not once did we have to, as a coaching staff, ask her to give more effort. Maximum effort all the time. Dinasia Christian. We have 2 awards that were voted on by the players. These awards are the Sportsmanship Award, which goes to Madison Madison Cuda. Michaela's not here, I left it in my room. And the Player's Choice for MVP goes to Dinasia Christian. At this time, lastly, I'd like to present the 2015 Warrior Volleyball teams. Thank you.
Our soccer team, please come forward. Coach Bird, Coach Rock.
It's like school, I just stay in here till you guys get going. It's my turn. Good evening, Dr. Wallace, Mr. Austin, Mr. Record, Mr. Bird, other distinguished guests, parents, student athletes, coaches, and friends. Miss you all. I want to thank you to everyone who supported Pocomoke soccer this year. It is greatly appreciated. Thank you to the administration, the athletic department, faculty, and students. Special thank you to Ms. Kim for your time and expertise you offer to each student athlete in order to keep them on the field. And thank you, Ms. Butler, for making sure our uniforms don't turn orange. I also want to thank Coach Chris Roberts for his time and expertise. I can only imagine the disruptions you had to endure adjusting your schedule in order to make practice sessions and games. I appreciate your willingness to do whatever is needed to enhance the progress of the team. And it is always a pleasure to work with someone who also understands that attitude is everything. Character counts. Effort is essential. Vision is valuable. If you can't pass, you can't play. The game is played between your ears. Quick minds make quick feet. There is no replacement for hard work. So go hard or go home, because no guts, no glory. Thank you, Chris. Congratulations to all the teams, student athletes, coaches for their outstanding seasons. To Ms. Brandy, our coaching staff, and the hockey team, thank you for your resolve. Excuse me, Susan's messing with me. Your dedication, your determination, your no-quit attitude, and for getting it done. Thank you. Congratulations. It's wonderful. All right. This year's soccer team finished the season with a record of 9-5. We scored 55 goals and 42 assists. We allowed 25 goals, 22 of which came after mid-season. We recorded 54 keeper saves, 1 defensive save, and 5 shutouts. We finished as Section 2 finalists. And now for the player introductions, if you would please hold your applause and hoops and whatever until each class has been introduced. Thank you. Our freshman class is right here in front. I have a great deal of respect for these young men. Once we realized we didn't have enough players to have a JV team, they had a decision to make. I could not guarantee them any game time. And if they decided to stay on the team, they had to work hard and complete all the training the varsity players were subject to. No free pass. Well, it's obvious they made the right decision. Not only did they take on the varsity challenge, they also willingly organized themselves and handled all the pre- and post-practice and game responsibilities, which is very important to the success of the time management of the soccer program. Also, from where they began this season, this second team improved their level of play to rid themselves of the orange cone pennies. Each player did participate in a varsity game this season. So when I call your name, step out, please. Noah Spetta. Nope. John Rain. Dave Knight. Najee Taylor Nelson, and a Minds in Motion Scholar athlete, Brendan Turner, and another Minds in Motion Scholar athlete, Colby Spetta. And that's our freshman class. Our sophomore class. Now these next three players are also first-time players that made the right decision to train hard at the varsity level. Jonathan Briscoe, step that as we go, played as an outside left back. He improved tremendously and dove headfirst into his first varsity game, literally. Minds in Motion Scholar athlete, Kai Busquets. Kai played primarily as a forward. He also improved daily and saw action in over half the varsity games. Brian Motes. Although Brian was not eligible to play for the first 2 months of the season, he continued to train hard at every practice, and it paid off. He earned the position of first or second reserve in the game, scoring 1 goal and assisting another. If a nagging injury had not gotten worse, Brian would have been in the starting 11 for the playoffs. Yuri Larimore. This was also Yuri's first soccer season in Pocomoke, but obviously it was not his first time playing. Yuri played as our starting outside midfielder and forward. He was the second leading scorer on the team with 9 goals and tied for third for assists with 3. He was selected Athlete of the Week. Yuri was also our Rookie of the Year and All Bayside South honorable mention. All right, some of the returning players. Minds in Motion Scholar athlete, Dylan Peterson. Dylan started in 7 games and played in the other 7. He played in the forward position as an outside midfielder. Dylan scored 3 goals and tied for third on the team in assists with 3. Noah Brittingham. Noah started in 5 games as a forward and in center midfield as well, before the doctors made him train in the shin guards for a back brace to heal a game-stopping injury. Noah scored 2 goals, won a game winner, and assisted another. Skylar Williams. Skylar was our starting left back, not only to defend, but also to get up the left side to support our attack. Skylar set up 4 goals. Avion Gale. Avion began the season playing an outside midfield, but finished playing the all-important center holding midfield position, owning that territory. Avion scored 1 goal this season and was selected our unsung hero. Another Minds in Motion Scholar athlete, Jared Hancock. Jared was our starting keeper in every game this season, the last line of defense and the first start to the attack. He recorded 5 shutouts with 54 saves. Jared was selected All Bayside South honorable mention. And that's our sophomore class. Now these 2 fellows, Byron Motes and John Chamberlain. These 2 players are also Pocomoke soccer rookies and a part of that second unit, given no promises and expected to meet the conditioning and training standards. John Chamberlain showed improvement throughout the season, developing a nice strike on the ball. John also saw varsity action as a midfielder. Byron Motes. Byron, injured during the preseason and the beginning of the regular season, improved his fitness and touch, and the results were playing in several varsity games in midfield. The Minds in Motion Scholar athlete, Luke Spetta. A returning player for his 3rd season, Luke started in our first and our last game this season and played in all but 1, depending on our opponent and his teammates' fitness as well as their performance. Luke played center back, defensive midfield, outside mid, and also as a forward. Luke scored 1 goal and had 2 assists. Noah Schofield. Even though this was Noah's 3rd year playing for Pocomoke, it was his first full season. He missed his freshman and sophomore seasons due to injuries. Noah was our back, settling in on the right side. Not only was he able to defend, but he could support our attack on the right flank and get back. and get back, and get back. Noah scored 1 goal this season, was selected Defensive Player of the Year, and because he played every minute of every game, giving 100%, in his first full season, he earned the Iron Man Award. Noah was also selected All Bayside South Honorable Mention. Gustavo Enriquez. Gustavo, also playing in his 3rd season, was a key to our attack running out of midfield. He was second on the team in scoring with 7 goals and first in assists with 15, accounting for nearly half of our team's goals. Gus was selected first team All Bayside South as a midfielder. And that's our junior play. Our seniors, first we have Andre Collins. Whoa! Yeah. All about listing 5. Andre has been a 4-year starter for us in several positions. He's our head manager, our scorekeeper, statistician, video tech, and only when asked, provider of coaching opinions on tactics and positioning. Basically flip the coin. Andre has been selected again Manager of the Year and also receives this year's Sportsmanship Award. All right, Jameel Baldwin, a Minds in Motion Scholar Athlete. Shmuel earned a starting position these past 2 seasons through his outstanding effort and no-quit attitude. Jameel accepted responsibility to man-mark our opponent's greatest threat, strictly covering him all over the field, which takes Jameel out of the run of play. An important and a very difficult job. He also scored 1 goal this season and has 2 goals and 1 assist for his career. Jameel earns our Team Player Award. Leander Roberts. Leander is a 3-year player. This season he raised his level of play as a forward to become that target player holding the ball up for advancing teammates. He also became very valuable playing in midfield, running at opponents out wide, as well as defending. Leander scored 3 goals this season and assisted on 2 more. He has 6 goals and 2 assists for his career. Leander was our most improved player for 2015. Yeah, I think so. Like Curtis Whitney. Curtis is a 4-year player. He has been our center back. This season, he also played in center midfield with more freedom to attack the ball with his relentless attitude to win. The unofficial players captain during practice and games, he is one of the players I can rely on to get my message across to the other players. Like Curtis was one of our key players in our 5 shutouts this season, as well as earning 19 shutouts in his career. He was our most determined player this season and also earned the 2015 Warrior Pride Award. Jacob Glover. Jacob is a 4-year player and co-captain. As starting forward, he was our first look in the attack for most games. Jacob was our leading scorer this season with 22 goals and second on the team in assists with 8. The other half of our offensive output. Jacob was also selected as Athlete of the Week. Jacob has scored 48 goals for his career and added 18 assists. He was selected first team All Bayside South and will be playing in the Senior All-Star game at Wycomico County Stadium Tuesday on November the 24th. Nolan Rance, a Minds in Motion Scholar Athlete. Nolan is also a 4-year player and co-captain. However, Nolan's covering the other end of the pitch as our other center back. Another key performer, recording 5 shutouts this season and then being a large part in the 19 in his career. Even though his priority was defending, and he even earned 1 defensive save to preserve a goose egg for Jared, Nolan also contributed offensively. Besides building the attack from the back, he scored 4 goals this season, which was 4th on the team, and assisted with 3, which was tied for 3rd. He was our defensive player leading scorer. Nolan recorded 7 goals for his career, playing in the back and added 6 assists and 3 defensive saves. He was one of 3 backs selected as first team All Bayside South. He will represent the South Division in the Bayside Senior All-Star game at Wycomico County Stadium this Tuesday, November the 24th. Now the players voted for our Player of the Year, and this year they voted and they selected as the 2015 Player of the Year, Nolan Rance. Ladies and gentlemen, that's our 2015 Pocomoke High School Soccer.
Before we get started, I need to say a few things, I think. If you told me last year on this night that Susan wouldn't be standing here with us, I would have bet $1 million that you were wrong. She was the architect of a dynasty here at Pocomoke High School, and the true test of a dynasty is that when you're gone, that you have someone who can take over and do the job and get the job done. And I've spent the last 4 months of my life remembering and being sad and struggling without Susan, and I haven't taken enough time to thank this young woman standing beside me right here, because without her leadership, we wouldn't be here today with the state championship. And she was the only choice, and she was the perfect choice. And along with remembering Susan tonight and how much we miss her, I need to also thank Brandy publicly for all that she's done.
Hi, I'm Bianca. I was the JV coach this season. I'm going to introduce our players first. We have our one freshman, Victoria Payne. Alexis Cullen. Cortasia Beckett and Kapora Toppin couldn't be here tonight. Get this. Madison Ramos. Diamond Taylor. Tatiana Waters. Devin Thompson. Natalie Christopoli. And our goalie, Kirsten Cox. This was my first year coaching, and I have to say, with the help of Jamie, Brandy, and Lisa, this season I won't forget, and I hope the girls don't forget either. We started off kind of rough with only a few girls that were returning, and the rest pretty new to the season. After that, each girl contributed throughout the season to each game and practice and put forth their all. Throughout the season, we really only played 7v7 most of our games, and by the end, we had the girls in good shape and everything to start playing full field, and they each individually achieved milestones of their own skills, and by the end of the season became one solid team on the field. We ended our season with a tie against Washington, and the way that the girls were excited with that one tie, I hope that they bring back next season to actually come out with, start the season with a win. So I'm looking forward to seeing big accomplishments from these ladies next season.
All right. Candy, sorry, front center. Next year it'll rotate. Yes, sir. Okay, good evening. I'm not the best doing the script thing. I'm more off the cuff, but I'm going to, Mr. Becker, kind of stick to the script here a little bit. Don't want to leave anything out. Good evening. I want to start by thanking Dr. Wallace, Mr. Record, Mr. Austin, Mr. Bird, Ms. Butler, Ms. Thomas Savick, Mr. and Mrs. Becker, Mr. Fuchs, and countless other PHS friends and families that have helped us come together this season and achieve our desired outcome. To the hockey parents and community members that have shown their love in preparing countless meals, site gifts, and snacks to prepare us for competition, throughout the season, we give our hearts to you. It would be impossible to thank everyone that had a hand in our success, but accept this formal thank you as a promise to value all the people and resources that have brought us to this very day as your 2015 1A Maryland Field Hockey State Champions. I can't even begin to express how proud I am of this team of girls. They have overcome obstacles far beyond the size of mountains. They've committed themselves to bring honor with grace to the most deserving name we know, Susan Pusey, and the Pocomoke Field Hockey legacy.
They deserve the win. They earned their success. They are the truest of champions. And most of all, they have proven Pusey strong all season long. Excuse me. It is amazing all the love and support from the Pocomoke Field Hockey family this season. You have surrounded us with all the love and support necessary to see us through the unthinkable. Thank you for trusting me with such special girls. Girls will take this victory and hold it close to their heart with pride for an eternity. You have shown them what it's like to obtain championship status. To the girls, you've given me a reason to smile, and in many ways you saved me. You accepted me in the darkest of times with open arms and willingness to focus on the job before us. Our very purpose and foundation in her hopes and dreams. And for that, I can't possibly thank you enough. You kept me straight through my rookie moments and did so with grace and love. You made me feel welcome and reinitiated me as family. Not just me, but my family as well. It looks as though you'll be raising 3 new little warriors in the years to become, because I'm not going anywhere. P Unit now has a Darien leadoff sound. Aubrey is practicing hard to learn your moves. And Maddie dreams of wearing 89. I have a promise to keep and someone's honor to uphold. We will continue to do Pocomoke Field Hockey the way we have always known and push to strive beyond our limits. That is the heart of a champion. That is the heart of a warrior. Champion, that title is what you deserved and the title that you earned. We wanted you to feel and experience the credit your hard work and heart were due. Congratulations, and let it sink in. These memories will be with you forever for countless reasons. But at the end of the day, know that you finished what you started. You lived up to your potential. You gave people the reason to believe. Your teammates will be your family through the years, no matter the hour or the day or the need. I have seen the worst of times bring warriors together, and together we continue to fight and overcome life's challenges. To Lisa, Bianca, Jamie, and Kim, you are the A-team. Our team's success is the quality and outcome of your time, your effort, your selflessness, and your commitment. This season you have helped create the safety net we all needed. You have been my friends, our fans, our prayer warriors in the most trying of times, oftentimes making everyone else believe I have it together. To my husband, thank you for believing in me in every way possible and wearing the hats of both mom and dad many times throughout the season. You are my rock. Without you, I am but half. Your sacrifices and selflessness as the husband of a Pocomoke Field Hockey coach find me your biggest fan. To the Pusey Bird family, thank you for trusting me with the legacy that was so intricately woven by Susan. Your continued and unwavering support in the team, along with your prayers, truly supplied the backbone to this entire season. Tonight we embrace success and know that we did exactly what we were supposed to do. We are family, and together we will continue to rise above and support each other through all things. So many have reached out with congratulations, and we personally thank each and every one of you. Now, on to your 2015 state champions, the Pocomoke Field Hockey team. With a season record of 16-3-0 and 117 goals, only 19 against. There's not many more stats I need to profess than that. Coming home with a Bayside championship, a regional title, and a Maryland state championship, you don't get a better story than that. These ladies fought hard and long all season long. There's not a game they didn't go out with full dedication in everything that they did, from the minute they stepped onto the field, even beyond the hours when we went home. Tonight I want to honor each of the girls just by saying a little bit about them. So I know many of you already know our story and where we're from and what we do. But sometimes there's little things that we like to tell. So Cami Motley. taken a beating. She's taken balls from every angle of the cranium ever known to man. She's done it successfully and overcome many obstacles, especially when it comes to injury. I'd like to give Cammie the concussion test without the concussion. It's quite fun, her humor. She was a Bayside honorable mention. She had 5 defensive saves. She had 1 goal this season. She's also a Minds in Motion recipient, and we're looking forward to an outstanding defense from Cammie in the future. Go with Amy Chen. Defensive back for us. When Amy's on the field, you know she's there. You might not know it till you're running, have a tackle with her, but she definitely makes her presence known. In many ways, she's the wall you don't want to run into. We always tease her, put your head back, we know you're running fast. But she definitely makes her presence known on the field. She was a Bayside honorable mention and had 2 defensive saves for us this year, and we're looking forward to great things from her on the defensive line next year. Kenzie Mitchell. Better known as Mitch. Mackenzie Mitchell is the force to be reckoned with on the right side of the field, the midfield area. Her drives and aerial balls, everything is beautifully consistent. She's going to turn in her maracas after the season. We'll see to it that we replace those, but she's going to come back with an even stronger stick that we're all going to be glad is on the right side of the field. She made second team Bayside. She has 5 goals, 16 assists, and 1 defensive save. She's a Minds in Motion recipient. I can't wait to see what Mitch is going to bring to the field next season. Peyton Becker. Wheels. Number 7 after my own heart. Right wing too. She's got speed on the outside, beautiful inserts. She gives herself a hard time, but her inserts are impeccable on corners. She's really worked hard. Continue to see her skills develop. She's phenomenal when it comes to getting around people on the right-hand side of the field. But at halftime, if I ask her to switch to the left, she's ready to rock and roll. So she also made Bayside's second team. She had 16 goals this season, 15 assists, and was a Mind in Motion recipient. Sam Dingus. Sam is one of those players who's willing to go in anywhere. She certainly has come to us with a defensive side, but I've had a feeling there might be a midfielder in there as well. We're going to tap into that a little bit next season. She had 1 goal for us this season and is a Minds in Motion recipient. Natalie Crisafoli. Natalie, too, has a defensive stick. I think we'll keep you there, though. She had 1 assist for us this season. She's a Minds in Motion recipient, and we're also looking forward to her coming back next season. Alexis Cullen. This girl's also got a set of wheels, so we're ready to tap into that for sure. She's got a quick stick on the right wing, and she can also be utilized on the left wing. And at times, and asked for her to come in, she's certainly come and delivered to the call. We look forward to great things on the forward line from you next year, Alexis. Callie here. Callie's one of our managers. She's been here from the start, keeps us straight, keeps us going. She certainly made sure our practices go as flawlessly as possible. We've been very fortunate to have such good help this season. We started out the season with no managers, and we ended with 4. So it was definitely an advantage to have her. She did a wonderful job for us, and we're hoping she'll come back and be with us next year. Tia McCready. This girl always had the Gatorade ready and the water good to go, and always asking me what I forgot, and usually she had everything squared away. So Latio has also joined us with our managing staff and has been there for practices this season and helped us see through to the successes that we found, and we hope to see you next season. Denasia Jones. Denasia Jones has got a heart of gold. This girl is ready to do anything you ask. She got me used to the name Miss Brandy. I told the girls you can call me Brandy. She's been very consistent with Miss Brandy. It's got a nice ring to it. As far as Denasia, she's always ready to do anything above and beyond. It's always, yes, Miss Brandy. Yes, Miss Brandy. And the respect level is of the utmost highest. She's an awesome keeper for us. She does some phenomenal things on the field and off the field. She really keeps a unifying force throughout the team. And that is so necessary in everything that we do. She's a beautiful person, and I can't wait to see what she's going to bring to the field next season. Nat Turner. Nat Turner is a Minds in Motion recipient. Nat is one of these players who also can go just about anywhere on the field. She struggled a little bit with injury this season, but wouldn't really lead on to that either. She's a tough cookie. She would go out there and give it her all. She's one of those folks that if you give her something to work on, she'll never stop working on it. She's really perfected a lot of her defensive skills through that hard work and effort. I'm really looking forward to utilizing that next season. We're excited what she can bring to the field next year. Luann Motley. Lou had one goal for us this year and is a Minds in Motion recipient. Luann's my forward line utility player. She's ready to go at any time. She hustles hard and she goes strong. Many goals, almost on 10th this year. We're ready for some more of those next year. She's also one of those players I can go to and at the drop of a hat, it's done. And she works very hard in anything that she's asked to try to work on practice or anything above and beyond. So we look forward to great things for you next season. Allison Sneed. Allison is one of those quietest yet most effective players. You don't hear much, but anytime you put her on the field, her presence is known because she's consistent. She's very strong in her consistency. She's a reliable player, and she's also she's a smart player. She knows when to put her stick down and really call some action on the field, and I've been lucky to be able to rely on her during certain points in the season. I should mention, too, that among a lot of these girls, she does help with our Youth Warrior program, and that's been a true asset to have such help out there. Thank you. Danny Bates. Boots. Boots had a beautiful goal in the state game. If you were there, you saw that reverse sweep. Danny Bates is that player that supports the play. Offense, defense, she's everywhere. She can carry the ball when it's needed to be carried. She can score the ball when you need to score the ball. And she can defend the ball coming into the circle. She's one of those players that makes her presence known on all areas of the field, and that's treasured and certainly a valued asset. She made first team Bayside. She had 15 goals, 15 assists, and had 4 defensive saves, and that's a testimony to being all over the field and very, very effective. She is also an All-State nomination, has an All-State nomination. We are awaiting results for those. She's a Minds in Motion recipient, and we're really looking forward to seeing you back in the field next season. Dominique Farace. Dom is awesome. She's our ninja. She's been called many things, but I think ninja is my favorite. But she's probably one of the most aggressive keepers in the entire Bayside Conference, and after seeing what I saw in the state tournament, I think she's a force to be reckoned with throughout the state of Maryland. She had 122 saves. She had 11 shutouts. She has a 93% save average. Called her the high tower back in the beginning of the season, and that's really what she is. She's learned to communicate with us and let us know what's going on in the field. And she keeps us positive when we need to be, and she really lets our defensive line kind of know what's going on, and that's very important, especially in that high tower position. So we're thankful to have Dom, and we're looking forward to getting back out there next season. Dom was also Mind Emotions. I think I missed that. See, this is the hard part because everybody else gets to come back. This group is a phenomenal group of young women. And Hunter. Hunter's my boy, so it's okay. He'll get before that later. I didn't look up Hunter, it's all right. Okay. If not for the strength and integrity of this group as a whole, I'm not sure we'd be standing on the stage with the accolades that we have this evening. They are the unifying force of this existing family, as you see right now. And I have to just say hats off, and my heartfelt gratification comes from my experiences with this group this season. So, thanks. Maggie Wells. Maggie Wells has got a drive that comes from I don't know where, but it is certainly felt, and we've certainly felt the presence of her drive on the field. And when it comes to her defensive play, she's certainly the person that I could go to when I need somebody strong on the field. Her stick skills, honestly, have probably been the most improved on the entire team. She's a very dedicated athlete. She's a constant supporter. She's one of those folks that keeps positivity flowing, and I really can't say enough about that kind of player, the one that keeps everybody kind of gelled and focused on the mission at hand, but with an ounce of positivity. She's not very pushy with it, but just her presence in the room gives you a reason to smile. And she's also a Minds in Motion recipient. Chick Beecham. Chick. Chick is fast as lightning. She works on the right and the left side of the field. You can put her on either one. In fact, her and Pate did a great job switching this season. She seals that left post and she never stops. She stays on top of the keeper's pads and makes sure that ball hits the back of the boards. She's scrappy when she needs to be and graceful when she's defending our honor. She played in the Senior All-Star game yesterday, and she did a phenomenal job. She's also Bayside's second team. She had 20 goals and 6 assists, and is a Minds in Motion recipient. I'm certainly going to miss Chick on the field, and the opportunity to do the chicken dance if she scored. So, this is, like I said, the toughest group, but Chick, we're certainly going to miss you next year, and we thank you for everything you've done. Caitlin Tatterson. Took me a while to figure out Kate. She's an awesome young lady. She truly is. I remember the first day, I said, "Are you always this angry?" She goes, "I don't know, I'm just always angry." I said, "Okay. Well, no problem. You are. Yeah, at any time I maybe tripped or pushed, but that's okay. I stood my ground pretty good, but Kate sometimes won.
Sorry.
That's okay. She's an awesome young lady. She has a different way of motivating folks and definitely made the connections where sometimes I couldn't. She has a very sentimental side and a side that connects with all of us. She gets to the point, she does her job, she says, okay, it's time to go home. But her presence on the field is a dominant force in the back. What's cool about Kate is she developed for Kokomo field hockey the trust pass. It's the pass where you trust to push backwards and switch fields. When we knew Kate was in the back, we knew we could trust her. And every time we passed it, she made things happen. So, it's definitely going to be a void back there, but a smile when it happened that we'll never forget. She played in our senior all-star game in Bayside yesterday. She made Bayside first team. She had 1 goal and 4 defensive saves, and is a Minds in Motion recipient. Caitlin, we're really going to miss you. Shayla Jones. Shayla's the one I could go to when I really needed an honest remark and someone to keep me straight. And I don't mean my honesty in a mean way. When I had a question, Shay, am I doing this right? Did I forget something? Is this what I do now? Shay would give me the response that I needed, and she would do it with such poise and grace that it helped me stand on my 2 feet the entire season long. Shayla's that leader on your team that you want. She keeps things balanced, she keeps things clean, she keeps the ladies focused, and she made sure we never lost the reason why we were all here. Every coach needs a Shayla. She played in her senior all-star game yesterday. Yes, she did. She played phenomenal. She was Bayside first team. She's one of our captains. She had 1 defensive save, 3 goals, 2 assists, as a Minds in Motion recipient. Shayla, you're awesome. We're gonna miss you. Lexi Butler.
Execution.
Lexi is probably one of the most strategic shooters in the game of field hockey at the high school level I've ever seen. It's been said when we were on the field that we didn't just bang the boards or hit it at the keeper. We placed the ball and we did it with finesse. Lexi Butler is one of those main reasons we were claimed to do that. She has phenomenal stick skills. She plays strong at the top and on the pads and every place in the circle. She's a force to be reckoned with and one that we will greatly miss on the field. However, she's also worked hard with our offense, and I think that you'll see some of that strategy continue. She played in the senior all-star game yesterday. She's the Bayside Offensive Player of the Year. She's one of our captains. She had 47 goals and 15 assists. Wow. She had a career of 109 goals and 40 assists. I'm pretty sure that's a record, but I will verify, but I'm pretty sure that one busted the books. She's an All-State nominee as well, and a Minds in Motion recipient. Lexi, we also wish you well at Towson with your commitment. And we'll be there to cheer you on next year. Sarah Grant. Sarah Grant was our statistician and our scorekeeper. She's also my right brain some days my left. She's fortunate enough, fortunate or unfortunate, I had to behold her, I guess, to be one of my students. So oftentimes, Miss Brandy, what do you need today? I don't know. And she would make sure all the loose ends were tied, the checklists were checked off, the Gatorade was in the cooler for Latia to put ice on. and that the scorebook was filled out and made sure it was in the bag so I didn't leave it at the school.
Okay.
Sarah, I thank you for all your dedication and effort that you put in the season to help us, and we're going to miss you next year. Hunter Height. Hunter's my school son. He keeps me straight, I keep him straight. I keep him along for the ride. He's our photographer, he's our manager, he's our #1 fan. It's been a joy and a pleasure to bring him along in this journey. He's a connection with the girls and a connection with me that I don't think any of our hearts will ever forget. We're going to miss you next year. All right, tap the night off with a few awards here. Cammie Motley is our Rookie of the Year this year. Our Offensive Player of the Year is Lexi Butler. Defensive Player of the Year, Miss Danny Bates. Our Sportsmanship Award goes to Miss Mackenzie Beecham. Ooh. Thank you. I'm going to save that one. Our most valuable player voted on by the team is Miss Caitlin Tatterson. Our Unsung Hero Award goes to Miss Dominique Ferracci. New award this year, and it's an award that will continue. The player that most strongly represents the reason we were all here this season, and that's the Pusey Strong Heart Award. And that goes to Miss Jayla Jones. Have a small token of appreciation for our seniors we'd like to give them, but ladies and gentlemen, your 2015 Maryland 1A state champions.
Say something.
Excuse me, can you hold on for a second?
That's
I'd like
right.
to present something to our coaches. They just need to be seen. On behalf of this wonderful group of girls, we'd like to present our coaches with these wonderful gifts from the bottom of our heart. We want to say thank you, and we appreciate everything you've done.
Woo!
Thank you.
10. She was in today also. Philadelphia.